Jesus said something that should make every one of us pause. In Matthew 24:37, he warned, "As it was in the days of Noah, so it will be at the coming of the Son of Man." That's not just a history reference. That's a prophecy, a mirror. So the real question is, what exactly was happening in the days of Noah? And are we repeating it? Let's rewind. Genesis 6 gives us a strange, shadowy glimpse into pre-flood life. The sons of God saw that the daughters of humans were beautiful, and they married any of them they chose. Then it says, the Nephilim were on the earth in those days, and also afterward. These weren't ordinary people. The word Nephilim can be translated as fallen ones, and they were described as heroes of old, men of renown, but not in a good way. They were the offspring of a forbidden union, something unnatural, something that broke the boundary between heaven and earth. Ancient texts like the Book of Enoch take this further. They describe watchers, a class of angels who fell from their position, took human women as wives, and created hybrid children. These beings were gigantic, violent, and corrupt. Not just physically, but spiritually. The Nephilim weren't just warriors. They were a distortion of creation, a genetic invasion. And what came next? Global destruction. God said, "The earth was corrupt in God's sight and was full of violence. All flesh had corrupted its way on the earth." That word, flesh, is key. Some scholars believe the corruption wasn't just morale. It was biological. The genetic purity of humanity had been compromised. In other words, the Nephilim didn't just threaten society. They threatened God's design. And if that sounds far-fetched, let's fast forward to now. We live in an age of CRISPR gene editing, artificial wombs, DNA modification, human-animal hybrid experimentation, AI-generated embryos, lab-grown organs. Are we unlocking potential or reopening ancient doors? There's growing concern among scientists, ethicists, and believers that we are once again tampering with creation, meddling with the blueprint, just like in Noah's day. And what's worse, we're doing it in the name of progress, of becoming gods, of transcending our limitations. Sound familiar? In the days of Noah, humanity became obsessed with power. Violence was everywhere. The line between natural and unnatural was blurred. And then, the flood came. But here's what's wild. Genesis says, the Nephilim were on the earth in those days, and also afterward. Also afterward. Does that mean Nephilim DNA survived the flood, or resurfaced? Some believe the giants mentioned later, like the Anakim and Rephaim, were their descendants. Others say the influence continued spiritually, not physically. But either way, the pattern repeats. Corruption, pride, genetic arrogance, judgment. So, what does this mean for us today? It means we need to pay attention. Jesus didn't compare his return to Noah's day by accident. He was warning us, not just about wars and sin, but about tampering with the divine order. The same warning embedded in ancient texts. The same spirit that led to judgment once before. Here's the truth. You can't improve on what God made holy. You can't engineer your way into eternity. And you can't play God without eventually facing him. But just like then, there is hope. One man walked with God. One man listened, obeyed, and prepared. Noah didn't have a PhD. He had faith. He wasn't tech-savvy. He was trustworthy. And when judgment came, Noah wasn't surprised. He was ready. So the question is, in a world sprinting toward genetic self-destruction, will you walk with God? Will you be found faithful when everyone else is falling? Because once again, the storm is building, and the door will not stay open forever. If this message made you think, drop a comment. I want to walk like Noah. And don't forget to subscribe to Wisdom Walkers. where ancient warnings meet modern wisdom. Till next time, walk wisely, walk humbly, and walk ready.